Hey all, welcome to A Fistful of Dice. My name is Matt. Welcome back to Hero Workshop, wherein we build a character from the ground up using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. In the previous episode, we introduced the series and talked about the different races that were available to you in Dungeons & Dragons, and we started our character. In this case, we're creating Dampf, Gnomish Artificer. We decided that Rock Gnome would be his race, and we accordingly got all of the features and traits that the Rock Gnome race afforded our character. If you missed that episode, there's a link down in the description where you can catch up. In this episode, we're going to be talking about classes and what you do when you take your first level in a class. So the classes are available in the Player's Handbook in Chapter 3. Page 45 is where they start. The classes available in 5th edition are Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard. That might seem a little overwhelming, but all of these classes kind of break down into 4 archetypes and combinations of those archetypes. The archetypes are Warrior, Mage, Thief, and Priest. Those are your 4 very basic archetypes that all of these classes kind of fall into, and are different combinations of those things. For instance, it could be argued that the Ranger is a mixture of Priest, Rogue, and Fighter. It could be argued that the Paladin is a mixture of Priest and Fighter. It could be argued that Barbarian is a mixture of Fighter and Fighter. But you get what I'm saying. All of these classes are capable of doing different things, and within these classes there's also different branches that you can choose. There's the fighter archetypes, there's the wizard schools of magic, the sorcerer bloodlines, the cleric domains. All of these things allow you to create a truly unique character even within the same class. So you can have 2 fighters in a party be completely different characters, both background-wise, personality-wise, and also mechanically, rules-wise. So Dampf is a multi-classed character, meaning that he is going to have multiple levels of a different class. In this case, Wizard, Rogue. However, we're going to start him out at level 1 as just a wizard, and then we're going to talk about multi-classing later on. So flip through these classes, decide what kind of class sounds good to you. As I said, they all kind of break down into those 4 archetypes of Warrior, Mage, Thief, and Priest. In the Wizard's case, obviously the Wizard is a Mage-type class. The Wizard is your basic book-learned magic user. They lack the natural blood magic of a sorcerer or the sort of the demonic or like pact-given magic of a warlock. The Wizard has studied and studied hard to achieve their magical power. They're naturally curious, knowledge-driven, and everything they do is in pursuit of understanding the magic that they're capable of doing and the magic that they may be capable of doing down the line. So as you turn to your class, as with the races, there's going to be some flavor text that you can read. In this case, the Wizard begins on page 112. Okay. And the flavor text kind of introduces the class, gives you the basics of that class, and what you can expect from that class later on down the line. Every class has a table, this really handy reference table that really quickly gives you a breakdown of what you're going to receive at every level. Your proficiency bonus, the features, spell slots, things like that. So as you're going through this class, you'll notice that there's a thing called a quick build. The quick build is just a suggestion for equipment, spells, and paths that you can take that really easily create a solid character if you're just looking to just pick up a character and play. In this case, we're going to be creating the character from scratch, not using the quick build, so that you can really get a sense for how to do this, how to get into it nitty-gritty. So in that case, you're wanting to go forward to the class features, and we're going to start taking note of this stuff. So the first thing under class features in the Player's Handbook is your hit points. Hit points are based on a hit die. Now, this is kind of confusing to new players. A hit die is essentially a dice, one of the polyhedrals that you're using in this game, to represent the amount of hit points that you generate every level. So in the wizard's case, it's a d6. Certain classes, like a barbarian or a fighter, will have higher hit points, like a d10 or a d12, that they're generating every turn. So the hit die is used in some cases to generate your hit points, but it's also used after a rest or a short rest to generate HP, or for instance, the fighter's second wind ability allows them to gain 1 hit die of HP. So for the wizard, it's a d6. However, you'll notice in the player's handbook, you have 3 things here: hit dice, hit points at first level, and hit points at higher levels. At first level, you are going to have the maximum amount of hit die. Or hit points, I'm sorry. So in this case, it's going to be d6 plus Arcana. We don't have our Constitution modifier yet, so we're going to take note of that later after we generate our ability scores, okay? But my hit points are going to be at least 6, because it's 6 plus my Constitution modifier, okay? So it's maximum. I don't have to roll that d6 in order to generate my hit points. I may have to in later levels if that is what your DM decides is going to be the hit point generation. But for now, at first level, I'm going to start with 6 hit points plus my Constitution modifier, okay? Proficiencies. Now, this is your armor, weapon, tool, and vehicle proficiencies that your class is going to give you. So in the wizard's case, I don't get any armor proficiencies. I'm not going to be wearing any armor, at least not now. Dampf does wear armor, but I'm going to have to multi-class to allow him to both cast spells and wear armor. So with weapons, wizards are proficient in daggers, darts, slings, quarter staffs, and light crossbows. And we're not proficient in any tools yet. Okay? But so you take note of all those proficiencies, the weapon, armor, tool, and vehicle proficiencies that your classes give you, down here in the other proficiencies and languages, okay? Now we're going to look at saving throws and skill proficiencies. For now, all we're going to do is we're going to fill in the bubbles of the skills and saving throws that we are proficient in. So for saving throws, for the wizard, it's going to be intelligence and wisdom. What this means is when we generate our ability scores and those modifiers go over to our saving throws, those 2 that we just filled in, the ones that we're proficient in, they're also going to receive our proficiency bonus. And the proficiency bonus is kind of a combination of your base attack bonus and your saving throw bonus. And what it does is it just modifies the stuff that you're really good at. Weapons you're proficient in, skills that you excel in, saving throws that you're naturally adept at. It's just a really simple way of increasing those things every couple of levels without having to mess around with skill ranks or anything like that, okay? Now, skills. There's going to be a list of skills here that you can choose from. In this case, I can choose from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. With Dampf, I'm going to take Arcana. He has a knowledge of magic and magical items. I'm also going to take Investigation. He has a Sherlock Holmesian kind of brain where he's really able to perceive and also analyze very quickly and very succinctly. So Investigation makes sense for the character. Okay? Now you're going to come to a section that says Equipment. The Equipment section is going to give you options. It's going to say A or B, A or B, A or B, and it's going to be armor, weapons, tools, equipment. We are going to buy our equipment in an episode later on down the road. So for now, we're going to skip this equipment section. If you wanted to really easily just get equipment for your character, you would do so in the equipment section, and it wouldn't cost you any gold. You would just take one of those things that is presented on each line, okay? Now we're getting into the features of the character. This might be things like spellcasting. It might be things like feat-like abilities if you're playing a fighter or something like that. In the wizard's case, it's spellcasting. Now, I'm going to very briefly talk about spellcasting, but there's going to be an entire episode about spells. Spells known, spell slots, spells per day, spell level, and your spellcasting abilities. So for now, we are going to skip the spellcasting, but I am going to go over it in a future episode. For now, I'll just say that the spellcasting is going to tell you how many cantrips you can have, how many spells you can know, how to prepare and cast your spells, and your spellcasting abilities. In the wizard's case, it's my intelligence. And then you're also going to get a spell save DC, which is what things have to roll in order to negate your spell's effects or resist your spell's effects. And there's going to be a spell attack modifier, which is what you use to attack with spells like Ray of Frost or things like that. Okay? So for now, we are skipping the magic section, but there is going to be an entire episode devoted to it, I promise you. However, I do get Arcane Recovery. So we're going to put that in the same little box here that we put our racial stuff. So Arcane Recovery. What does this do? Well, it means that after a short rest, I can choose one of my expended spell slots to recover. So let's see here. So I'm going to say once a day, after short rest, recover one spell slot. And the spell slots can have a combined level that is equal to or less than half your wizard level, rounded up, and none of the slots can be 6th level or higher. So in this case, I'm a 1st level wizard. I'm going to be recovering one 1st level spell slot, okay? All right, so that is all I get at 1st level. We're also going to look at our proficiency bonus now. This is the same for all characters. At level 1, your proficiency bonus is +2. Your proficiency bonus goes up at level 5, but through levels 1 through 4, it is +2 and it stays that way, okay? So, and if you're looking for where that is, it's in the table at the beginning of your classes section. In that first column, it's going to have your proficiency bonus, okay? So again, at level 1, it's just +2 for everybody. That's across the board. So yeah, that is all I get as a wizard at level 1. We are going to be going through the leveling up process in a future episode, and we're going to go through how you add more stuff to your character. So, so yeah, that is what you get from your class. So we chose wizard, so I'm going to go ahead and put wizard up here, and how many levels I have in it, 1. So the class gave us our saving throw and skill proficiencies. It gave us our proficiency bonus. It gave us a few features here, both spellcasting and arcane recovery. And it gave us our weapon, armor, tool, and vehicle proficiencies as well. In this case, I'm a wizard, so I'm not going to be carrying around swords and stuff. This is all I'm proficient in so far. So here we are. In the next episode, we're going to be looking at generating ability scores, and this is going to be where we're going to be filling out a lot of this stuff, all right? So I hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. There's plenty more episodes to come where we're going to go more in depth about creating characters and leveling up characters and developing them in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Take care, and happy gaming all.